Well,
Well,
good evening, everyone.
Hello, hello.
oh,
Hello.
what's up?
How we doing? So, Jake is joining us tonight. I'm sorry, I just kind of I looked at my phone. I got completely lost my train of thought. Um, hey guys, welcome, Jake. I want to welcome you to the stream tonight. Welcome, Killjoy, Jake.
Howdy,
And
howdy.
howdy. And for the first time joining Craving Something Scary tonight, we have CMAN710.
What's up,
Welcome.
y'all?
Welcome, Chris. Thanks for
I'm so
joining
excited to
us.
be here.
I am very excited for you both to be here as well. And what better topic, man? It's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago today, Scream
Holy crap, you're
5
right.
dropped. Can you believe that? 2 weeks. So here we are, and we've had a lot of time to reflect. And I'll just go around and ask, Jake, how many times have you seen the film so far?
I've seen it 4 times. I was going to go again today, and I completely just missed the mark. I woke up way too late for the. I bought tickets.
Oh,
I had
God.
tickets for like 12:40 today, and I slept through it. So I did
Are you
not end up going.
serious?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I messed up, man. I'm gonna go this weekend. I think though for sure one more time
That's
just to
good.
see it on the big screen. At least one more time. But yeah, so.
I'm jealous 4 times. And you're going to go for 5. That's awesome. Chris, how about you, man? How many times have you been
Same
able to see it?
thing. 4 times. I was supposed to go like maybe 2 days ago, and the same thing happened. I totally forgot it even existed for a minute there.
That's
God,
awesome.
it's been such a busy week. I don't know even know where to begin with that one, but I want to go see it at least a couple more times. Same thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm still taking it all in. It's
Yep.
the fact that it took this long and now it's finally here. Man, I'm excited.
Yeah, it is a bit surreal in some ways. And I guess I'm the slacker of the group. I've seen it twice. I went on opening day and then on that Friday. And then I went the next morning and saw it again. And I said, okay, I have to see it twice. And I thought about going back, but I'm like, wait, you know what? I'm going to let these just kind of marinate, man. And just because it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to think about and process.
It
Because the
really
knee jerk,
was.
I mean, the knee jerk reaction, right? You come away and you have a certain feeling. And that first viewing was the emotion was so high, right? It's like you're just like peaking emotion when you walk out of the theater and I'm like, okay, I have to go back tomorrow. I can't just do this once. And then that helped. And now it's been 2 weeks of just settling in. And I'm ready for Paramount Plus to do their thing.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
My gosh. I have to tell you, I have a strategy. So you guys are ahead of me right now. But here's the thing. My plan is when Paramount Plus drops it next month, I'm going to watch it twice a day for 7 straight days. So I will log in 14 viewings in 1 week plus 2. So I'll have 16 viewings after that first week. And then I'm gonna, it's like breaking in a pair of shoes or anything else. Then I'm gonna feel like I finally will have absorbed that movie fully, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So how about you guys? Do you guys have any binging plans or any parties planned for once it hits Paramount Plus?
Well, I
I
told you a
definitely,
little. You can, go ahead, man. Sorry.
Sorry, I
no,
should have
you're
let you go.
okay.
Yeah,
I
you can
definitely am
through.
planning to like do a view party in my Discord because I know I got a lot of people that have not seen the movie yet, but they're all dying to, and they can't get out of their like. I know a lot of like places in Canada are like closed down and all that stuff.
Yes,
It's
for sure.
ridiculous. It's kind of sad, actually.
It
I've had to
really
keep my
is.
my mouth shut for so many people so far.
I know it's so hard, and I had someone message me directly just a few days ago, and I believe they're in Canada because it's locked down, and they said it's going to be probably a month before they can see it still, and
Whoa.
they were like trying to avoid spoilers, but now they're at the point where they want to be in on the conversation. They're just like they want to hear all the spoilers, and then they'll go watch it when they can. And I'm like, that's really a bummer, man. I
It
feel bad
really
for them.
is.
Yeah.
It's of all the movies, I mean, some movies, you may hear a spoiler here and there, but it's not going to impact it as much. But man, a Scream movie for crying out loud! Everything's about secrecy and misdirections and twists and anyway.
Steven, I feel really bad. You know how I've been very like so anti-spoilery on my page, and
I
like whenever I
guess.
post a video, I always have a warning. I'm like, spoiler
Yep.
warning, don't watch any further. If you haven't seen Scream 5, I was at work the other day and my one of my coworkers had seen it and we had gotten to a conversation about it and she was really super excited about it. We were talking and I go and this is a spoiler live stream, right? we
Yes. Oh, by the way, thank
just
you,
to make
Jake.
sure. Yeah,
Let me
I'm
tell
about to
That was
say
what I was
something. So.
thinking too.
I appreciate you, Jake. I totally forgot to mention that. Yeah, this is a spoiler live stream. I know it. I think it's. No, I don't think. I think I have it in the description. But either way, yes. So everyone watching, we're gonna pull everything out for Scream 5 tonight. So if you haven't seen it, you've been warned. So thanks, Jake. Go ahead.
Oh, hang
Thank
on.
you,
There's a hater in the chat. Some fart decided guy. So let me just destroy him. Yeah, real
Fart
quick.
Decided.
Fart decided.
Dude, no. That's
yeah.
terrible.
Hater in the
Fate.
chat. Hater in the
Oh,
chat, man.
Fate.
But I'm talking with one of my coworkers about it, and someone I literally go like, "Oh, and wasn't Amber's reveal so cool?" My friend walks the corner and is like, "What about Amber?" I'm like, "Oh crap!"
Fred.
I accidentally spoiled one of the killers for another one of my friends, and I feel really bad. I was like, I've been working so hard to not spoil this film for people, and in real life, I end up doing it, which I was so mad about.
Well,
I
here's
will
the
bash my
difference
head
between.
against the wall.
Oh, I know, right?
I gave myself 10 lashes, so.
Okay, that's awesome. And here's the difference between you and the people out there that are the trolls is that they're trying to ruin people's experiences. Yours was a legitimate accident. And it's unfortunate, but your heart was in the right place. You weren't trying to ruin it, you know? And so, and I'm sure your friend, they knew it too. You know,
There's so many more shocks and surprises too with this film.
That's true,
too.
though.
It's not just
So
about the
true.
killer reveal, you know. Like there's so much more to it that she doesn't know yet. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Honestly, for me, the actual motives were the more shocking part for me because I sat there for like a good 5 minutes, like, what the actual fuck is going on?
oh man, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of corners this movie takes, and I don't mean like cutting corners, but literally on the drive throughout the thing. Let's real quick, just want to say hello to everybody in the chat. And as it is, you guys who've been watching my live streams for a while, you know I'm about 20 minutes behind on the typical chat run because when we start talking, man, it's just like we get in the zone in here. But I do try to catch up. But I want to say this up front. If I do not see or get to your question in the live chat, it is not intentional or on purpose. It's just the way it goes. And if I missed you this time, that's good news. I'll have another live stream coming up in a few days. So you'll come back. All right. So I just want to throw that out there. But I see Austin 530, Samantha, Chad. Oh, Chad. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. Never mind. You're going to watch the replay. That's right.
Yep.
So that's all good. Aiden's in the house. Wayne and John, good to see you. And Blucka, always great to see you, Blucka. Jaden, awesome. Big Smoke, Explorer, Marcus 7, Random Hero. Dark Road, what's up, Dark Road? What's happening? And good to see you over here. Oh, and there's my man Reagan. Oh, I know, buddy. You know, I'm the conductor of that. Oh, hold on. We got our first mention of the man, and as tradition that I've started, anytime someone says the name Stu, bam, we got to get on that Stu train, baby. I am driving it. I'm conducting it. I'm taking this all the way home to Stu Land. So if you are in this chat tonight and you are going to get on that train, throw me a hashtag right now. Give me your best hashtag for Stu. I want to see them all. And I'm very pleased to say, by the way, that with Mr. Killjoy, Jake, who is part of the Lethal Collective, as most of you guys know, tonight we had a breakthrough. We had a little breakthrough on the Lethal Collective a couple hours ago. And Jake, I think, is maybe starting to get in line for a ticket. I think he's getting closer than he's
I'm
ever
warming
been.
up. I'm warming up to the Stu
Yes.
train a little bit.
Yes.
I'm still, like I said, I'm still on the fence. But I had we had a really good discussion about a theory about Stu coming back for like part 7 was what I was thinking if they
Yeah,
end up
That's
doing
what
a
I'm
trilogy.
thinking, too.
I think it would be cool to have him like be a reveal in like maybe the last film if they do end up doing a trilogy. If you don't mind me reiterating a little bit of that.
Go for it, bro.
Yeah, go
Hit
I had
it.
a really cool idea about what if Melissa Barrera's character gets framed at the end of the 6th film by our new killers, whoever they are. She ends up unfortunately, she ends up going to prison in part 7, and that's where she meets Stu Macher, who is
That'd
still
be
alive
insane.
in prison. And then maybe maybe Stu finally has his redemption arc and gets her out of prison and like has some kind of positive effect on the series instead of something other than just being a killer. I don't know. I mean, it's a crazy idea, but I think would be kind of interesting to see play out.
Well, what I've always said is that when franchises become franchises, they get crazier and the line between reality and fiction blurs. So I think that the further you get into the franchise, the better making Stu come back would be, because you could really make a joke out of that. You make a joke out of, let's just start bringing a bunch of people back because, hey, that's what franchises do. Friday the 13th, Halloween, all of them, they go above and beyond. They jump the shark at some point. So the inevitability is that Scream is eventually going to jump the shark, and they just need to make the roll with it.
As long as it's executed well, like I feel like they could do it. Like as long as they like with the right amount of explaining and the right amount, like an actual story to back it up instead of just like off-screen revival. Like then yeah, okay, that's fine. I'd be down for it if it made sense. You know, that's another big thing about the Scream franchise I love is how rooted in realism it is, opposed to like some other slasher franchises. Like, look, I love Friday the 13th, I love Halloween, great franchises, but something that Scream has that those other franchises don't have is character development, which is like you don't see that in Friday the 13th. You don't see character development. You also don't see that realism aspect of it as well, which I think is interesting.
That is also very, very, very true. And I will say it's not easy to bring Stu back. I tried doing it in a fan script, I want to say 2010. And let me tell you the amount of backlash I got for it. So I wish them the best of luck if they try that.
You know, I've kind of gotten to the point where, you know, the whole Stu thing, I've been on that. I mean, you got to understand, the Stu train for me, see, the train was being built in 1996. And when they finished the film, the train was completed. And you see, I don't care because you know what? When I get in that Stu train, they can throw darts, they can shoot bullets at it, they can do anything they want to do. They can try to tear apart, but that steel doesn't break, it doesn't bend, it doesn't fold because the Stu train is real and it's coming. So
you see, that was me with the Kirby train, and that ended up being true. So I guess anything's fair game now.
There you go. All right, Kelly's on the Stu train. That's what I'm talking about. Dark Road, let's go. Fate decided. See, there's always one. There's always one. Fate, you know.
God.
There's always one who wants to throw a pebble on the track, but you know what? It's not going to derail this.
This freaking guy.
This guy.
This guy.
You know, I mean, now this would be terrible. Imagine Stu returns only to die in the opening. Now that's just pitiful.
No.
If I would literally I would walk out of that theater. It would not be a good day.
You see, I literally read this about Kirby like just about, I want to say 2 hours ago too, and I'm like, okay, that's great for shock value, but I'm like, what's the point to that point? You got them all, you spend $1 bajillion to get them in this movie for them to die in the opening sequence and piss off a bunch of fans.
Yeah, let's not do that. Exactly. I'm with you.
What a missed opportunity it would be to bring back Kirby and not have her have a conversation with Mindy. Like,
oh my god, yes.
Oh my god, we were just talking about this on our other live stream, but like, I would kill just to see a conversation between those two characters. That would be so interesting to watch.
Yes.
What would they talk about?
End in a heated make out too, and that was what would make it even funnier.
Well, that'd be a shock.
I'm telling you, I've been on the Kirby's buy train for a while.
How old is Kirby then now compared to Jasmine Savoy Brown, who's playing a high schooler?
Well, she would have been. Let's just say
that would be a problem.
What do you think, Kirby?
That would be a problem.
Was Kirby? Let's say she was 18. Let's go higher. 18
I think she was
in
17,
2011.
actually.
Okay, so either way, so if she's 17, then you throw on what are we? We're looking at 11 years, so 28.
So late 20s, yeah.
Late
so
20s.
I don't know if I'd be okay with them making out then. in that case, the age difference might be a bit.
I didn't even think about that, but you are right. Sir.
Yeah, that's just something that came to mind. I was like, oh, that's kind of.
But now you know, it's not something the Radio Silence hasn't done because we have Richie and Amber. Bro, Amber's in high school, dude.
Yeah.
Richie's in his 20s.
Yeah, there, 25, dude.
They've already, Radio Silence has already gone there with basically statutory jailbait. And there you go.
Did they confirm they were a couple, though? Because I got like, wow, okay.
She even calls him babe.
And I missed that. See, now I'm going to rewatch it again just to look for the little subtle hints.
Oh, yeah.
That's creepy.
It's actually when it first dawns on you, like probably like you're feeling now, Chris. When it first hits you, you're like, oh, that's just awful. This guy's a
It's just
total
awful.
sleaze bag, not much less psychopathic.
It adds a whole other layer to her reveal too, because I mean, when she's trying to mess with Sydney and Gail's feelings in the kitchen or wherever, I think it was the kitchen, right? And she's trying to
Yes.
say, "Hey, I'm like, hey, I was framed, I was made to do this." I'm like, it kind of like she totally played them like a fiddle, didn't she? Holy shit!
Yeah, that was the whole sequence was crazy. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Now we've kind of this has been a fun little off the cuff intro, and I love that. This is great. So let's start talking a little about maybe some more specifics about Scream 5. So maybe Chris, I'll start with you, and we'll go up to Jake, and then we'll make the circle that way for this one.
Sounds good.
What would you say are your three? And I'm going to put you on the spot here with a number.
Oh God.
What would you say? I know. What would you say are the three biggest highlights of the movie, and the three biggest things that you did not like or you would change about the movie?
I really liked Sam at the end. I think that's like one of the biggest highlights is just watching her go ape shit on Richie. Because I mean, honestly, that whole theater went berserk, and I think it was in a good way. Sydney's whole part of the finale, perfection. And I really want to say I was surprised because I didn't think I would like it that much, but I really liked the opening with Tara too. I think that she nailed it. I thought that for personally going into it, I was like, no one can top Casey, but she came this close to being an even more iconic opening, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
The things I didn't like, and I know this is controversial because I know a lot of people liked it. I think that they could have done without bringing Billy into it. I think that they should have made it more auditory hallucinations. I think it should have been implied, but I think that actually having him there kind of just sort of felt a little out of the realm of Scream. Maybe not totally, because, I mean, sure, they had the Scream 3 Marine stuff, but, you know, like, we're taking it just to a whole other level, and there's all that debate now because of it, a lot of strife. I think that they needed less obvious killers, personally speaking, but I did like both of the killers. I liked the motive. I think that they should have gone with the motive, but with someone a little bit different.
Okay.
I think the only other thing that I really had a big problem with is we didn't get enough of the new guys. Like, I felt like most of the time, all the new teams sort of went away in it, and I think that they really need to spend more time. Less time focusing on look at the trio being on screen constantly, and more time on, hey, these are the people that are carrying it forward.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's good stuff. Awesome. Jake, what about you? What would you say are your two or three favorite things and two or three maybe not so favorite things about the movie?
I really enjoyed a lot of the deviations from your typical Scream formula. I talk about this all the time with this movie, but one of the biggest things I loved about the film was like the fast pace opposed to like your typical formula that kind of like slows down halfway through the film and then kind of just riles its way back up to the third act. I like that. It's
Yes.
Obviously Wes Craven is known for using that sort of format with a lot of his movies, not just the Scream films, but I really appreciate what Radio Silence does. And once it gets rolling, it never stops until the ending. Like once that third act is over is the only time when you really feel like there's a bit of a drop, because this movie does not stop. It's 2 hours long and it does not feel like that at all. That was a huge positive for me to see something different in the pacing. I really enjoyed that a lot. I loved a lot of the new characters. I think, but I would agree with you, Chris, that some of them could have used a little more screen time. Like Liv, I felt like could have used maybe a little more, like just one more scene with her, and I would have been okay. I didn't really get to know her all that well, which is a problem because. And the ending in that third act when she's kind of like acting like a red herring, essentially, I like her. I mean, she gives a good performance, and one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie is her death. Honestly, it's not that creative of a kill, but it's just
God,
so
I love
shocking. It's Amber, and she shoots her in the face. That's crazy. Like, oh, that got me, man. That was one of the biggest shocks of the whole movie. That whole scene was awesome. I loved that. But a few things that I felt like could have been changed is, yes, I feel like the storytelling was a bit clunky at times. And that all goes back to the fact that the writers, James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, they really wanted to pack this movie full of everything that they wanted to see in a Scream film, with the idea that they may or get to do another film. So they wanted to pack this one chock full of all the things that they wanted to see in a Scream movie, which was, it's understandable. It's an understandable negative. And I think all the negatives for this film are greatly outweighed by the positives, for me at least.
Amen.
I know this is a really polarizing film for some people, but that's just how I felt about it. I also just love Radio Silence's style. Like, I'm really familiarized with it after seeing like Ready or Not, Southbound, their skit in VHS. It's
Oh my
it's a
God,
lot more
Southbound
familiar
is
to
so
me.
good.
I'm sorry?
Southbound is so good. Like,
Oh
honestly.
yeah, Southbound's a great movie too. I love their style, man. It's not like typical. It's not very typical with other filmmakers in the space right now, which I find very fun and different. So
Yeah, good stuff. I love it. Now, here's a comment that came in from Neil, and I'd like to park for a minute here because it's something that's been on my mind. Is, we know the original cut of the movie was 2 hours and 27 minutes, so they had to
Yes.
basically cut 30 minutes off essentially of the film, and which contributes to that really fast pacing that we do see, where it's just rapid fire, move, 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 move. And I agree. The plus side of that is it's like there's never a dull moment, and I love that. But it also leaves some scenes looking a little rushed, and having that feeling like there's more here that probably was there that we didn't get to see. One just example off the top of my head is the Vince death. I mean, I think the Vince
Yes.
killing is so fast, it's so quick, and
yeah,
it just almost seems like, okay, we got to shave. The studio says it's too long. Get it under 2 hours. So they have to start going back and looking over all the footage. Where do we cut from? And Vince, unfortunately, not only got slashed in the throat, he got cut in the editing room way down.
Right.
And so that was just one scene, but there were some other scenes that I think were just had a little bit more of a rushed feel. Again, I'm not saying, I like the fast pace, but
Me too.
what I wanted to see was a director's cut. The Halloween Kills extended cut, which I haven't seen yet, but I keep hearing people keep telling me like watch the extended cut because it colors in a lot that you.
it's
does.
so much better. It's so much better.
See, that's what I'm
It
hearing
makes
from
the
everybody.
movie flow.
I
a
still
lot
question
better.
why that wasn't the cut. Like, honestly.
Well, that's a good question. I was going to say, why did the studios, and this is kind of off topic a little bit, why did the studios, and they did it with Wes, why did they meddle? These studio executives who've never created a film mostly in their lives, they're up there telling these directors, and of course Wes was a legend, but
Oh,
but even,
absolutely.
I mean, that's, can you imagine the gall to go up to Wes Craven, who's revitalized the genre over 30 years in each decade and say, hey, no, your movie's too long, dude. You don't know what you're doing. Your fans are going to like this. Really?
To be a fly on the wall.
Seriously. Oh, you know it. Which is, I could talk Scream 3 because I guarantee you that conversation about Scream 3, when the Weinstein said, no, Angelina's not going to be we don't want Angelina to be the revealed as a killer. And all that. Wes said, heck with you, PG-13, heck with you. I'm making the movie how I want to make it. And he shot that movie as if there are two killers because there are two killers. And I was watching a reaction video. This is totally off in my head. I've got to share it. I was watching man, it's our live stream. We do whatever we want, right? And so
Exactly.
there's no rules here. So I was watching someone do a reaction video to Scream 3, their first time watching. And I watched it. This is literally like yesterday. And the person who's never seen the movie before, it keeps going through, and she's like, oh, I know there's got to be two killers. She's seen the first two. I wonder who the second killer is, right? And it gets to the end. She's watching it with her husband. It's a couple, and she's like, well, who is the second killer? He said, well, maybe it was just Roman. She says, no, there's definitely two killers. It's clear there's two killers. I'm like, yes, you picked up what Wes is trying to tell us. And anyway, I could do a whole hour and a half on Scream 3 with you guys, but I won't do that tonight. But I say that just to say I was hoping we would get an extended director's cut. But I'm hearing now from Neil, and I've heard this from other people today in my Instagram. People are messaging me.
Me too.
That you've seen it too, yeah. That there's not going to be an extended cut. We are going to get, they're saying deleted scenes, which is fine, but it would have been. I would love to have seen that. How do you guys feel about the reality of not getting that in its context?
I think in a way it's.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You want to go first, Jake?
Sure. Yeah. Just to talk a little bit about that, the deleted scenes, like I hope they fill in a lot of the blanks with things we have troubles with. Like honestly, and this is maybe a bit out there, but like the whole Billy stuff, like I said, it's a bit silly. It's a bit like, okay, why are we doing this? But like at the same time, am I complaining about Skeet Ulrich being in the movie? No. Like that's awesome. It's cool. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like silly, and it's almost like, is this a parody of Sydney's ghost mom in Scream 3? What's going on
That was
here?
my question.
Yeah, like I wasn't watching it. I'm like, is that the point here? I don't know. But maybe one more scene with Billy could assist that whole aspect of the film, because like I feel like you could either go one or two ways with this, like have more of it and maybe explain it a little better. Like I feel like if there's one more scene with a Billy hallucination, maybe that would make it flow and work a little better with it. But like it's either do that or take it completely out of the movie for me personally. So I hope there's a deleted scene of that. I'm not 100% sure what the deleted scenes are as of right now, but there has to be more stuff with Vince. That's the biggest thing that I feel like we sure know. There's stuff in the trailer that we didn't see from that scene. That's not in the movie. Ghostface T-posing, for example. He's not like his shadow against the wall. Like we don't see that in the film ever. So hopefully there's a longer sequence with him, maybe like stepping on his head or something and exploding it into blood. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I would love to see that kill extended though, and obviously be way more brutal than just a poke in the neck. Like, come on, he could have taken that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck was that?
Yeah. Hopefully someone like.
Gallagher.
Oh yeah, right. Kyle Gallner is a great actor too, and like to just have him in like 2 scenes essentially. Like what? The only thing I want to say, and then I'll pass the torch to you, Chris, is I hope that someone gets online and like maybe splices this film with all the deleted scenes if they're that good and make this film flow just a tiny bit better, because I think that would be interesting to watch it with just those little additional scenes. I think that it would really assist this film.
Yeah, I actually know someone who saw an early cut of the movie, and I didn't believe him until I literally watched the movie. And he said that it got chopped to shit. Like honestly, it literally, he said it was like a 5-minute scene. I think he almost called it. And I was like, I mean, I don't know how much of it is true, but if that's the case, then I mean, literally, Kyle Gallner got the shit end of the stick completely. Like I did know a few things about that. I really want to see. From the script, I don't know if you guys have read the leaked script yet. I really want to see the confrontation between him and Dewey too. Like I'm dying to see David Arquette and Kyle Gallner square up like that. Just because it sounds hilarious to have the two of them like that. I just think they play off each other really well. I really think that we should have gone an extended cut, but I also think we should have gone an extended cut of Scream 4 because I think that fixed a lot of those issues too. So it's like, we get what we pay for, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
right. Fate is continuing to cause trouble in the chat. Fate, dude, we love you, brother, but my. Hey, listen, guys, I need to just acknowledge we got a couple of super chats tonight.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Thank you, guys. Let's see, CW, which I don't know why it's not letting me post you, but I see you here. CW is the $5 super chat, but I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate your support. CW says Ghostface T-pose with the laughing face. Yes.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. I know, right? That was such an iconic. I call it iconic, but for the trailer, it was iconic because I always talked about that. I always remember that scene. I'm like, how wicked is that? We've never seen that in a Scream movie, and we still haven't. We've seen it in a Scream trailer. I'm like, come on, man. Got another super chat here. I want to acknowledge, hey, Steven, a $20 super chat. Steven, Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your support, buddy. And let's see. Steven's chat says, Billy worked for me. She has schizophrenia, and they referenced her antipsychotic medication. I think having a final girl with schizophrenia is such a cool way to show that you're not defined by your mental health. And, that is a great comment. And I apologize, guys. I don't know why I will not let me put this into the chat, but I'm reading them out loud here. Thank you, Steven, for your $20 super chat, man. Your support goes a long way to helping this channel continue to give quality content, which I'm trying to continue to elevate it. And so thank you, everyone, and CW for your chat as well. And guys, anyone who does do a super chat tonight, I will assure you that we will read your comment. We'll address your questions, guaranteed, for sure. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, you guys don't know how much that means for me and the channel, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, what do you guys think about that though? As far as having Sam in this role, because Jake, you and I have talked a little bit about this, because you're talking about how it could go either way, right? Sam in Scream 6 could turn into the dark side, and she could give in as, and I hate to do this as Star Wars reference, Anakin could give in to the dark side of the inner Billy Loomis, and she could do that and then turn all the way over, and then Tara takes over, which I talked about earlier. I thought it's not actually a bad idea. I know, Jake, you feel a little different about it, but how do you guys feel about the other side, though? To have a character dealing with the schizophrenia, whatever she's working through, and she still sees Billy, even after she killed him. So she didn't exorcise the demon, because we know he's still with her outside when she leaves. So how do you feel about that comment where maybe they are trying to show that, you can overcome, even whatever you're facing, there is a way to overcome those issues. What do you guys' takes on that? Let me start with you, Chris. What do you think on that comment?
Well, as someone who's in the autism community, I really like the fact that we finally have a final girl who is in some way have a mental health issue. Because it finally shows some strength in there. I think there are a lot of horror movies that put the mental health issue into a lot of the killers. And I think that, that's great because it does, it does make it more real. I think that there's also the other side where there is a lot of people that take that and make it a strength. And I love seeing that finally. I really hope we get a lot more characters with strengths like that instead of, making them the killers, I guess is the best way to put it. Right. I'm really upset with the new Texas Chainsaw movie because they were supposed to have a wheelchair-bound final girl, for example, and then they twist that around and things like that. I'm like, I want to see more of that. I don't know why we don't, but I think it's time for it to happen.
Yeah. Well, Jake, what are your thoughts on that?
Chris, no, I agree, man. Horror has a very rough history of portraying people with mental illnesses or whatever in an incredibly incorrect way. It's like we'll see people with schizophrenia just go out and murder people for no other explanation as besides the fact that they just have schizophrenia. That's not how that works. That's an incorrect way of portraying that. And I just feel like if they're going to take the route of making her a Ghostface killer, I don't want it to be just because she has some kind of mental illness. She's struggling with something. Exactly. That's just not realistic. If it's because of something that happens to Sam is influenced by something else, different story. But I would rather her be a positive hero character instead of the opposite, I guess. It's such a better sign it's a better strength for the community than her just turning evil. It's kind of like the same thing with Sidney Prescott. To a lot of people, she represents strength and survival and overcoming trauma, and to kill her would ruin all of that potential that this franchise has. So I kind of feel the same way about both issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely hear what you're both saying, and again, I think I've said it before. It really does come down to writing, and just like with Stu.
Oh yeah.
It's the same thing. If you do good writing, if you write it well, and it makes it feel organic, I believe it can be done, and you can do it with any subject, any character. Past or present. And now, Billy's back, for crying out loud. They got him in as a hallucination, which, by the way, I'm going to probably stand a little different from you two. I actually liked the hallucinations of Billy, and I liked it because, it could have been auditory, Chris, as you mentioned earlier. That's true. It could have. But the reason I liked it was it's just, I think it shows the severity of what she's dealing with. Because, hearing voices is a big deal. But when you're seeing things on top of that, I'm like, man, she's really in a bad. She's really struggling hard with this thing. And so,
I will say I do like that a lot too, because I know a few people that do have schizophrenia, and that is actually exactly what they go through. You do not just only hear things. So I think it really boils down to what they need to settle down on what her illness is really. Too.
Yeah, you're right, and that's kind of like, I mentioned it on the collective earlier. For me, it's Scream 6 is really going to tell the story for me, because I think what we've got is a foundation where it could go a lot of different ways. We could have Sam continuing to overcome, but yet when she's backed into a corner, she can tap into that inner Loomis and
Yes.
go into frenzy. 22. Let me say again, 22 22 stabs of Richie. 21 in the
brutal.
body. Isn't that crazy? 21 in the body, one through the
Yep.
cheeks. And she was loving it. I don't care, guys.
Oh,
She
yeah,
had
absolutely.
fun. It was like a coming out party that she's of all that. You can imagine all those feelings she was pent up and resisting. She just let it go. And I mean, I love too how this is nothing too. Radio Silence did really good, I thought, with the makeup and the effects, because when she's stabbing him, you're not going to have that kind of violence without blowback. You know, like sometimes you see people stab people, they never get blood on them in movies. I'm like, that's not going to happen.
That drives me
right?
nuts.
I know. It's like, come on. And I loved how by the end of this thing, I didn't know who was more stabbed, because she's blood splatter everywhere on her face. And I mean, it was a thing of beauty. And I got to tell you, and maybe I'm just overreacting to this, but when she was done, and like she's like, I'm spent. I've got, and then she stands up or sits up on her knees, I think, or whatever it was, and she does the
Yes.
whole. I always make the sound effect.
Dude, I literally cheered in the theater.
Oh yeah, but did that not give you like almost chills? Like, oh my gosh, she is completely full blown gone into this deal. Like, and I'm like, whoa. And I have to say, guys, also, and I want to see what you thought about this in that moment. That also went. I began to feel like there could be something at work here, that maybe she liked it too much. What if Radio Silence at the very end? It's not really a cliffhanger per se, but what if they're
Right.
saying, "Watch out, more to come, more could be coming." Right. So I just want to know, how did you each feel? Jake, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Chris. How did you feel when you saw her stabbing Richie? Not just stabbing him, I mean, violently, frenzy, savagely attacking him, and the whole finger with the sound.
I mean, we've seen many Ghostface killers do the exact same thing many times. It's hard to argue against that because, like, yeah, I mean, she she definitely enjoyed that a little bit. Oh, hey, there we go.
Yeah, I got to work.
sweet.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, no, it's hard to go argue against that though, because like she clearly was kind of enjoying it a little bit, and it's in her blood, it's in her veins to be a psychopath and be a killer and all that. So I could see, like, once again, it all comes down to execution. With any crazy plot or crazy theory you have and you want to pitch to this movie, it all comes back to how they execute it and if it works well on screen or not.
Yes.
It's all going to come down to that, because like they can take that route, but like I said, if they do it in the wrong way, it's going to come off as like mildly insensitive. I think it all comes back to execution, man. If they kill it, if they knock it out of the park, and we get at Sam being one of the coolest Ghostface killers ever, hell yeah, I'm all about it. Like, let's go. But it could go the other way, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I get the whole component too. Not to be redundant here, but I know, I get the component too about the psychological. You don't want to portray, people that have mental illness, mental struggles, things in our lives as being villains, like we're vilified because someone has a certain situation that they're struggling with. And so I get that. So it is a balance, though. I think in order for it to work, you'd have to write it, whereas that's not really the reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's hard, though, right? Because Chris, you're a writer.
Yeah.
You write
Right.
scripts. And Jake, you write, too, with your fan film. You guys know as writers, that would be hard to strike a balance, isn't it? To where it's not leaning one way or the other on that.
It definitely is. I think that from my point of view, I think that it would actually be interesting to see if they did it as a trilogy thing. If they didn't do it, maybe necessarily in Scream 6, but slowly build it up through all three of the trilogy. Because I think that way we get to know her as a person before she snaps.
Okay.
Whereas we only have 2 movies to get to know her if you do it in Scream 6.
Right.
So let's say we know her to Scream 7. It's almost like a betrayal, like a stab to the heart. Like you're like, what the actual F when she pulls off the mask?
Yes. Well, now that's interesting. So move it to 7. So if that's the long game, right? If they are doing a trilogy, which we all I think agree that's
yes.
at least at this point that's the plan. If that's the plan, and I do believe James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, they've already written an outline, if at the very minimum, an outline for the next 2 movies of where we want to go. So they know, and so that is a good point, because if you save that for 7, it won't be so knee jerk like, oh, it's because she's got a, she's dealing with whatever, she couldn't control what was going on. But if you really get to like her and more of the humanizer and see, it would be almost a situation where it'll be sorrowful at the end of the day,
Exactly.
where you'll feel bad when she takes the mask off, like, oh, Sam, dang it, yeah, I think
Yes.
it's a great point, Chris, that you brought up there.
Especially because it's like, I think it almost gives us what they wanted to do with Jill too. Because I think the original
Yes.
plan, as far as I read it, was that Jill wasn't even supposed to be revealed as the killer at the end of Scream 4.
She was not.
That was the original draft that I read about.
That's
So, like, if we do it like that, it's like that. Maybe she could even have been in on it from the beginning, for all we know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, random hero. Sorry, bro. Craven, you're killing me. My plan was to get my channel up and running, but your live streams have completely pulled me away from it. Oh, well, I'd like to say I'm sorry, but I'm kind of not. So, yeah.
Right?
Also, like, thanks for watching.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
exactly, right? I appreciate it so much, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad to be a distraction for you today. Absolutely. Yeah, so Jaden's chat is popping in. I was freaked out in the end of Scream 5 that Sam might become a... Yeah, I know, right. It hit me. It really did. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about... I love how these streams go, man. And this is the beauty of live streams, because, like, when you do a video, when you're not live, you pretty much format it where you kind of just stick to what you want to do. When they get in an environment like this where we have interaction with people, it can spark new ideas. And we haven't talked much about this movie in 43 minutes. We've talked about some aspects, but
Absolutely.
I love that, though, right?
we're also talking about the future of these
And we
movies,
are.
which I think is kind of where the conversation has shifted, because
Yes.
a
Oh,
lot of us
absolutely.
have seen the movie now, so it's kind of
Right.
like, what's next? What's next for the franchise? What do we do
Yes.
now? So
Yes.
yeah, no,
That's a great point, Jake. And my voice is getting raspy.
we've been doing live streams all night.
It's a little bit worked.
And I've been
today.
a drive-through all night, so there's that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm telling you, we've all been speaking into microphones for
Exactly.
hours.
Yeah.
So, but we love it. That's all right. That's why we're doing this.
Absolutely.
And obviously, 50 people are here to enjoy it too. So we know
Wow.
so we appreciate that. So, on the theme of Scream 6, let me throw up a picture. And I think we may have touched on it a little bit, maybe really early. Let me find the picture here, guys. I'm looking for it. Where is it hiding from me? Or do I have it? Maybe I don't have it. Okay. Sometimes you have an embarrassment of riches where you have too much, and it's
Oh, that's my computer.
it's like more than to the point where it hurts you and doesn't help you.
Nope.
All right, I don't see the particular individual. Oh yeah, I do.
There we go.
Lie without a net, baby. All right, tell me what you guys think about this.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Now, let's see here. I got to say, okay, gosh, can I do this? Should I do it? Jake, should I do it? You know what I'm talking about. Should I
Do it. I say do it.
Chris, should I do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything
I'm
with purpose,
going-
Yes.
Thank you. All right, guys. All right, all of my peeps who've been following me, you probably already know where this is heading again. But I'm going to use this picture right here to prove another point. So we see here that Kirby is alive. We are going to get to Kirby. That's my whole point of doing this. But I want to say
Of
one
course.
thing. We're going to get there in just a second. But before we do, what's interesting about this is Wes Craven said Kirby survived. He even had her do a very subtle movement before the camera gets off of her in 4. Now, it's been a 11-year debate now, whether she's
Yes.
alive or not. And I'm like, she's alive. Wes Craven said she's alive. And so what I thought was great was that this right here shows me, and I'll get you guys' thoughts, but this shows me that Radio Silence is honoring the canon of Wes Craven. That
Exactly.
they knew as fans of the franchise and of Wes that this is what he said. So they honored it, and we see this. Now, I want to mention one more thing before I let you guys talk about Kirby. That same logic, we see this right here.
Yep.
Now, we also know, right? We also know that Wes Craven said that Stu Macher survived the events of Scream 1. It's on record. It's not even like a conspiracy.
Right.
Him and Kevin Williamson had him surviving. They were bringing him back, and in Scream 3, I won't go through the whole thing right now. But my question to you guys is this: since we see them honoring Wes's canon of Kirby, do you think, and we'll keep this short because I'm not going to turn this into the stupid thing again. But,
No worries.
But I kind of am, but I'm going to try not to be much. But do you honestly feel, just what's your gut feeling? Do you think that they are also going to honor Wes's canon with Stu in the same way that they're honored it here with Kirby? What do you think? Just a quick answer. Chris, what do you think? Yes or no?
Yes, but not in the way we're thinking.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I'll bite just a little bit. I'm more just behind that one.
Okay, so my thing is, he said that Stu survived Scream 1, so does that necessarily mean he's still alive?
Why not? Though?
Could someone, like, my thought is that someone could be working for the strings of the legacy Stu left behind.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that would be the best way to work around it without, like, just, like, alienating the people that aren't up for Stu Alive. So let's say Stu is alive. He left behind a video like Randy or something like that, and he's inspired some new psychopath.
Yes.
That in the time between Scream 1 and Scream, let's say 7, if that's one, we're going to get to that point.
Okay. That's an interesting way to look at it. Jake, what do you think? Do you think that they are going to do kind of what Chris suggested maybe? Or do you think that it's going to straight up be like they did with Kirby? Like he's legit living. He's alive. It's not going to be a hallucination. He's back or could be back.
You know, I got to say, going off of what Chris just said, to kind of like build on that idea is it would be kind of cool if like, what if there was a videotape of like Stu crashing at someone else's house and like he's just like hiding out there for a bit and he's like kind of going crazy and he's filming himself and there's like all this weird footage from like 1996 or like I guess like 97, because don't forget like there's like a 2-year gap between like the first and the second Scream movie. So like there's a lot of things that could have happened in between that time that we just don't know about. And one of those things could be like, what if Stu's just going crazy at somebody's house like with a messed up face because of the TV and all that, and maybe he inspires other people to be crazy and go out and kill people too, to, you know, obviously try to inspire some more horror movies. Maybe he's seen Stab, like maybe he's seen this, like the movie Stab, and was like, I did this, like this is so cool, I want to build on top of that, I want to keep making the movies and keep inspiring killers, and there could be something underlying like that, and maybe he's still alive in the new film. But the biggest thing to go off of here that you said, Steven, is that yes, Wes Craven did say that was the original plan for Scream 3, was to bring him back, but of course with Columbine and all that, they had to change the whole structure of the third movie, which is maybe one of some of the reasons why I feel like it's problematic, but it's still a really good, like I still really like Scream 3. It's really grown on me. Like a year ago, I had a totally different take on Scream 3, but now like I've seen it like 10, 15 times, and I'm like, you know, it's a pretty good movie. This is actually not bad.
Yes,
but
agreed.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you though. I mean, I think in a way it is kind of honoring Wes Craven to actually flesh out that story and have Stu come back in some kind of crazy plot twist that could go through a new trilogy of films, a 5, 6, and 7 theoretically. Yeah. Like I said, I'm still kind of on the fence. I don't know if I'm buying a ticket yet for the Stu train, but I'm in line. I'm in line at the ticket booth.
And listen, a month ago, you weren't even yet in the parking lot. You were still driving on your way, but you hadn't even gotten in the parking lot.
And you're right. You're right.
Yes. So you're in line. That's a big jump. I love that. Yeah. And by the way, last thing I promise on Stu, I shouldn't make promises I probably won't.
Nope.
So I'm just going to retract that statement. But the last thing I intend to say about Stu on this live stream, did you guys notice the creepy art duck? Remember Art Duck Designs? Do you remember who did a poster for Scream 5 with the face right in the highway?
So good.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? So they did a concept poster last week, and they tweeted out this poster of Stu for Scream 2. And I know it's hard to see right now because it's not very large. But if you
Right,
guys can see it, I did a whole video on it on my channel. If you look at his eye rather, you'll see the scars underneath the eyelids, and above the eyelids, a big scar.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, and of course they were saying, we're not saying Stu should be alive and return, but actually, yeah, we are. And it was like, this is so good. And again, there's just what I love is that there is a lot of buzz about it, and
Exactly.
people are talking about it. There's Screen Rant's got 2 articles out on it, and now you see the poster. I'm just saying, and again, this is it. I'm hopeful. I think I'm more hopeful now than I was before Scream 5 came out, because
That's fair.
and Matthew Lillard's like, hey, he retweeted that poster and said, who wants to see this? And
Yeah.
well,
Yep.
you can imagine the responses. So,
Listen, Steven, so 4 years ago, I don't know how closely you followed the MCU or not, but like there was all this talk about Toby in the MCU, let's get
Yes.
Toby Maguire in there. And it was like, it was a
Yes.
big joke. Like 4 years ago, if you said something about Toby being in the MCU, you'd probably get laughed at. You'd probably be like, okay, well, that's not ever going to
it
happen.
was.
Well, guess what happened this past December? Tobey Maguire is in the MCU, and that first Spider-Man movie from 2002 is technically the first canon MCU film. So, look, we're in the golden age of fan service. If anything could
Amen.
happen right now with like something like that, it could totally happen, is my point. Is like, I don't think that ruling that out is very unlikely. Like, honestly, I think it could easily happen, and it wouldn't even be that shocking to bring Stu back at this point. But
Yeah.
once again, it all comes Bully McGuire in the chat. Nice, that's funny. But it all comes back to execution, though. If they want to do this, like I said, I don't think it's that unlikely. Not anymore, especially with the tease in Scream 5, like you just had up on screen. It could happen. It genuinely could happen, and I would not be too shocked to say like that Radio Silence is probably talking about it right now with their writers.
Yes.
So, yeah. I think it could happen. I'm still iffy about it, but it could happen if it's executed correctly. It could be really cool.
yeah.
I think part of the problem is that everyone's expecting it. So it's like, does that hurt or help the idea of the mystery behind it?
Well, everyone was expecting both the Spider-Men to be in this last
That's
Spider-Man
true.
movie. And listen, I saw that movie 3 times, and every single time people are clapping and cheering and standing up and throwing popcorn and shit. So
This is true.
Yeah, I still think it would be shocking, even though we'll probably be talking about it for the next like 4 years until that movie comes out. You know what I mean?
know, I swear to
like,
God.
yeah. So
Oh, that's good stuff. I love it. So we'll see. I will leave Stu there for now, and I think that's the great comments, great feedback. And yeah, I think we got a shot. We got a shot. So I'm going to keep that train stoked, fueled, and ready to roll. And first class seats are also available. So just
I
like
feel like I belong in first class after starting with that script. I swear to God.
I'll tell you what, you're right. Right? Oh my gosh. All right. So speaking of Stu and being a killer in Scream 1, let's focus our attentions right now on again, everyone knows this is spoilers. We've already said it. So, but I feel like I have to say it every time I start talking about reveals of a killer.
Right.
However, let's talk about our killers. So let's go ahead, and Jake, we'll start with you. We'll go around. Tell me your thoughts of our killers, Amber and Richie. What do you think of their characters, and then their reveal as killers, and then the motive? I guess it's kind of 3 things. So
yeah.
what are you thinking?
I like with Amber, I really liked her reveal. I really like her as a killer. I think she's pretty crazy and like over the top in a good way. Like it's the whole scene where they bring them into the kitchen and like they got the guns and the knives pointed at them. It feels like a real hostage situation where sometimes in the past maybe it's gotten a little goofy at this point. Like especially in maybe like there are parts of Scream 4 that I feel like are a little mad with with the killer reveals. Like Charlie is just like, why is he there? What is Charlie doing here? And then he just gets killed. It's just like, okay, whatever. Jill is evil. Like she is a lemon scented kind of evil that I just I loved. Like I love Jill.
One of my favorites of a whole franchise.
Oh yeah, no diss towards her at all because dude, some of the things that she says in that 3rd act of Scream 4 is just like, you are so evil. Oh god. But I love it. Amber's reveal is largely in part as to why I think I like her so much as a killer, because that was honestly the biggest shock of the whole movie for me, believe it or not. Like the
Yeah.
Billy being Sam's dad and all that reveal, that was really cool. The whole opening scene was crazy, but like that scene got that all my, I think Steven, I told you this on a past live stream. We bought out almost an entire row of me and all my friends for seeing it the opening night, Thursday night. And like everybody was like, like an audible gasp came over the auditorium at that scene. And it was like, honestly, a top 3 moment in movie theaters for me ever. Like when that happened, that was so cool. I loved it. That was sick. Richie, on the other hand, I saw coming from a mile away. I mean, wow, that guy could not have translated himself being a killer more at all. But on the other hand, both of them have their strengths. Richie, I think, in the end, ended up being my favorite killer from this movie. And honestly, I rank him pretty high on my list. I'm ranking all the Ghostface killers this Sunday. Little shameless plug. Check that out on Killjoy Jake. But anyways,
Absolutely.
I did like Richie more as a killer, though. His performance is this mixture of, like, he takes the dark and sinister undertones of Billy Loomis and mixes it with the physicality and silliness of Stu Macher, and you put that into the same character. That's Richie, essentially. And I really enjoyed his performance. He killed it in that third act, for sure. But Amber is a little lackluster after she's revealed to be the killer, which is like, yeah. And for the motives, I actually like the motive. I know that's probably the most controversial thing of the entire movie is how people feel about that. I know a lot of people don't like it, and maybe it wasn't executed in the absolute best way they could have, but I did like the idea of toxic fans going so crazy over wanting a better film. They saw a movie they didn't like and they hated it so much they had to actually go out and murder real people. That is sickening to me. And honestly, I like that. I think if you think about the big picture of all that, it's a lot scarier than just taking it at face value, because it's terrifying. It's just a really terrifying idea overall. But to pass the torch, Chris, what do you think about all that?
I agree wholly with your last statement. I think that the best part about the Scream movies is how realistic they are. And I'm like, I sat there in the theater thinking, holy shit, I could actually see these two doing this shit. Like, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm like, I've seen some real crazy toxic fans in my day. And I'm like, I've gotten death threats. I've seen other people get death threats. I'm like, one of these days someone's going to snap and do it. And that's it. I was like, these crazy fucks, they actually did it. I really like Amber as a reveal. I'm not sure how I feel about her as a killer. Sometimes I love her, and sometimes I'm just sort of like, eh. What I really loved about her was her moment in the kitchen with Sydney and Gail. I thought that was one of the greatest moments of the Scream franchise, period. And especially enjoyed that torch. Though I really wish she had thrown a bitch on the end of that, because I thought that would have been even funnier. But Richie, I really liked the most. I'm kind of gonna echo Jake here. I think that he was just fucking hilarious the whole way through the movie. Jack Quaid's an incredible actor. I think he nailed the part of the Ghostface killer. And I especially like about him is that when he reveals himself, I can almost hear some of Ghostface lines throughout the movie in the way he's speaking.
Yes.
Like you could go back and definitely pinpoint when Jack Quaid's talking. You're like, oh, absolutely. That was so Jack Quaid. Like, especially the W. Judy. I'm like, that wasn't Judy.
Judy? I was so good. Oh my gosh.
Roger L. Jackson deserves an award for this voice performance. Sorry, really I didn't mean to steal your thunder there. But yeah.
No, I was going there. I was going there, Jake. You go for it, man. Absolutely. Golly. I mean, okay, look, let me preface this by saying there is not, in my opinion, there is not a bad Roger L. Jackson performance in any film. No. There's none. There's not one time where I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't know about that voice. Never, ever. It was like, he killed it. I don't know, guys. This might be, and I'm going to be real careful with how I say this, because this is sacred territory I'm entering into now with these first four films. This might be, I'm going to say might be, my most favorite Roger L. Jackson performance of all the movies. Oh gosh, I can't believe I said it out loud.
Dude, I agree, man, and I hate to say that because like it's so good in the first movie. It's so shocking and scary, and you're immediately terrified in that opening scene for the original film. Like, I want to know who I'm looking at. That scene, oh my God, I mean, goosebumps every time I watch it in the 96.
Like a 15-year-old.
No, I'll admit it. Yeah, no, that's poop worthy right there, that scene. But my thing about in this film is like I feel like honestly they approached Roger and they're like, listen, we're doing another Scream movie. We don't know if we're doing another one. That's how I feel with the writers. That's how I feel with Radio Silence. They're like, we don't know if another Scream movie is going to happen. So let's give this one our all. And honestly, I think Jackson, the writers, the Radio Silence guys, they all took that approach with this movie. Let's just let's pack it full of everything we've ever wanted to do in the series. And Roger L. Jackson gives, like, honest to God, the performance of a lifetime, as well as like David Arquette, some of the other people in this movie, but like those two especially, David Arquette and Roger L. Jackson, they just knocked it out of the park for me. They were some of my favorite performances from this entire movie. Alongside, like, obviously the Meeks twins, Jenna Ortega is also phenomenal in literally everything she does. His vocal performance was ridiculous in this movie. Funny at times and scary when it needed to be.
Well, I actually had the unique pleasure of talking to him at Days of the Dead. I think maybe it was October, so I guess 4 months before the movie came out. And we talked a little bit about the movie, and he said that he loved the things he was able to do with the voice in this movie. And I think he was specifically talking about those little parts where you could tell who was speaking. Like, I think that a lot of the other movies, you really, like, there were times where you're like, okay, maybe it's this guy, but no one really has that distinct voice like these characters had in this one. And I think he was saying that kind of, he was trying so hard not to spoil the movie because I was like asking him a billion questions. I mean, my third time meeting him, and I'm like, I'm still starstruck from it. But dude was like just over the moon. It was really cool to see how excited he was about doing that. Like, honestly.
I almost went to Days of the Dead, and now I'm regretting it.
I know.
I'm really regretting not going.
Days of the Dead is a blast. I actually know the guy who did Days of the Dead, or does it constantly. So,
nice.
Cool dude.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, believe it or not, he's a Vegas native. Who knew?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool. Huh.
Well, this is a great segue because Roger L. Jackson clearly loves, as you said, being the voice of Ghostface. I mean, my gosh. And there's also one particular character that loves, with authentic, genuine glee and happiness, to be this particular character. And I have to say, I'm sad to say, someone who, we were talking about how Ghostface may have given arguably his best performance, Roger L. Jackson, in this movie. There's another cast member that dates back to Scream 96 that I think may have given his very best of his entire career. Yes. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mr. David Arquette, Mr. Dewey Riley. Was his performance not earthy, weighty, heavy, convicting, authentic, genuine, absolute believability 100% of the way?
It might be controversial to say this, but I would say if it wasn't a horror movie, he'd be up for an Academy Award for that performance in this movie, personally speaking.
Genuine. Absolutely. Yeah, if that had been a drama, some type of a drama film, whatever you want to put the subject around, relationships, whatever. I mean, and I'll turn it over to you guys in a second, but it was so real, it was like, here's our Dewey, and I love Dewey. I've always loved him since I saw him in the theaters in 97. And look, from this innocent, almost childlike deputy who is so naive to where we see him grow in all of these movies. He gets deeper and deeper and deeper and stretches out more and more. And now we see him in this. If you turned on 1 and turned on 5, you would say, what happened? Bro, what? Because you were so happy and giddy. But I thought he showed such incredible, not to sound cliched, but he showed such range and how he could take a serious role. Because this Dewey was more serious than we've ever seen. He had a couple of great one-liners. But anyway, how do you guys, Jake, tell me, what do you think? Do you feel that this may have been his best overall performance? And was he not the star of the show for the OG3?
Yeah, dude, consider, like, Dewey starts off as this goofy, silly deputy character that's just so fun to watch and is kind of the comedic relief. They even make fun of him in Scary Movie with Officer Doofy. It's supposed to be like, he was really silly in that first film. And where he goes to, how his character evolves into this rugged man who has been through some really traumatic experiences. It's so real. Once again, this franchise is rooted in realism, because sometimes when you have horror movies with characters who survive multiple multiple sequels, you'll end up having characters just not develop or not change because of these traumatic experiences. And that's a huge misstep, in my opinion. With this franchise, they did it perfectly. I think with each movie, David Arquette's Dewey just gets a little more dark and a little more rugged and depressed, and you just see this character development that comes full circle in this movie right here. And I just, like, the people who don't like how the OGs were portrayed in this film, I wish I could understand it, because this was a perfect way to take out Dewey and a perfect way to end his arc. It's sad. It's like, who wants Dewey to die? Nobody does. But like, what better way to end his arc than saving some of our main characters and having to shoot him in the head? And his last words are, "It matters to me." You know what I mean? It's like, or that's not exactly what it is, but my point is, I love the way they wrote his character. It's so real, and yet he still has those character attributes that he had back in '96 in this film, even though he's a totally different person now. He still has those like really funny lines when Wes says about how he looks horrible, and he's like, "Well, I'm starting to think you're the killer because that cut like a knife emotionally." Like, that line is hilarious, and that's so Dewey. So he still is that character internally, but he's just been through so much trauma that it shows. The way he portrays his character in every film is a little different, but it makes sense as to how he would grow and expand based off of all the traumatic things he's been through.
Well
This is
said.
so true.
So true. Yeah, it was, and I not to, keep beating the dead horse, so to speak, and that really was no pun intended. That's kind of a bad way to say it when we're talking about a character
That's
that
so
died.
funny though.
Yeah.
Single
But,
tier.
but for real though,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm going to go back to what I keep saying though, gentlemen, is that I stand behind my statement that, because I look at Radio Silence's interviews when they talk about the Dewey's death, and they're like, well, we didn't like it. We were like, oh, do we have to do it? But we saw James and Guy's script, and we're like, well, we understand why we have to do it, and that's what we need, something to draw Sidney back. But at first I was like, okay, I'll accept that. But as time has gone, it's been 2 weeks again today, and I want to tell you that I've become less settled with that answer, because as time has worn on me, and the more I've thought about that, I'm like, you could come up with other ways to get Sidney to Woodsboro. You could have had Dewey attacked. Right? Had him been attacked, been him in ICU. I guarantee you, if Gail calls and says, Sidney, Dewey's been attacked, he's in critical condition, she would have come. She would have come even though he wasn't dead. So, and then, and I made this argument that said, look, us as the OG, and I know, Jake, this was your, second time? No, in theaters? Or first time for a Scream film? I can't remember.
Oh,
Jake,
this was my first time I ever got to see a
Oh,
Scream
wow.
movie in theaters.
Yeah, it was your first one.
Yeah.
And Chris, have you seen them all in the theaters?
Well, third technically. I went to the
Okay.
20th anniversary screening.
Right. But the third one is when it was your first from the originals, right?
Yep.
Okay, got it. Well, and I think that my thought of it is this: is that man, now I'm losing my train of thought. Isn't that crazy? I hate when that happens. I'm like right in the middle of it. I was going a good point coming.
It's been a long
But
day.
It's been a long. It is. It's been a long day. But I'll just say this: that to sum up what I was getting at was that they could have done it in another way. And I know what it was. So we had the joy, even if you didn't see them all as Legacy fans. I know, Jake, you've seen them all a bunch of times since then. Watching them on DVD. My point is that all of us fans had a chance to learn to love Dewey. We got to watch him in 4 films, and even to say the first 3, for example, just to make the point I'm getting at. And my thing is this: if Radio Silence would have said, you know what, no, Guy and James, let's talk about this. How about let's put him in critical condition in ICU. We don't know if he's going to make it. It's 50-50 if he can make it. And we go the whole movie, or the whole second half, with him in ICU. And we still don't know in the finale if he's going to make it or not. And then, the reason I say this is this new generation. I read a stat, I think it was on Box Office Mojo, that 2/3 of the audience that are in the theaters to see Scream are 18 to 32 years of age.
Wow.
So that means like old timers like myself who are legacy fans from the first movie, that's only 1/3. And so,
Wow.
which is kind of crazy. I know. When I saw that number, I thought it would have been the other way around, but
Me too.
you would have thought so. But here's my point. Most of those 18, not all, clearly, but a lot of those, I'll say a lot, I won't say most. A lot of those, this was their first Scream film ever. They don't know who Dewey is. They don't know who Sidney is. Obviously there's a history there, but they don't know who. Why didn't they give, and again, maybe it's just me being an old fan, not wanting to let go, but why couldn't they have given this new generation of fans, these young kids, Jake, kids that are in your age group, why couldn't they have given you guys, pretending you didn't already know who Dewey was, right? If this was your first Scream film, it's critical to my point, which I'm obviously never getting to. But if you, for these kids who've never seen Scream, this was their first introduction to Dewey. Give them a chance to learn to love Dewey like we were able to learn to love him. Because you know what would have happened at the end of 7? They would probably have felt about Dewey like we feel about Dewey after the first 3 and 4. That's all I'm saying. Give them a chance.
Okay, I have a really great retort to this because I see the Scream films and any really late 90s, early thousands horror films are really nostalgic for my generation. Believe it or not, maybe your generation and people who are maybe in their 40s, 50s, the 80s is what is so nostalgic and what they look back to as oh, these were the greatest movies ever. For me, it's Jeepers Creepers, Scream, Final Destination. That's what my childhood for horror movies was. That was what was so scary to me when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I am we are familiar with these characters. It's not the same way. We didn't go to the theaters as seeing a new horror movie as a 20-year-old adult. We saw these movies as kids and fell in love with these characters and saw them and were oh yeah, I'm rooting for them and they're awesome. So I think the Dewey death is really effective for people my age as well. I was really upset, honestly. I couldn't believe it too. I was I thought all the OG3 were safe. I thought they were totally just mocking us with all the marketing about Dewey. That's what I was thinking. I was really thinking it was just one big joke because Radio Silence thinks that's funny, but clearly they think it's even funnier to actually kill one of these beloved characters. To move above that point, though, it's not just because they think it's funny. I think it's really critical to the story because if you don't kill Dewey and you keep him safe once again, and you just have him wheeled away in the ambulance at the end of the film once again. Right. We've done that so much. We've done that in almost every movie. Killing him is realistic, and that's something that is. I feel maybe in the 4th or the 3rd film it gets lost. The realism that this franchise is rooted in, and by actually killing one of these characters, it makes that the probability, the statistic of would you survive a Ghostface killing? It makes it much more realistic. It makes it much more wow, nobody is really safe. A stereotype about these films that has kind of been developed is that there's 3 characters that are unkillable up until now.
Right.
That's a big thing that people have criticized about the film, kind of from the outside of the fandom. I feel most people who are big Scream fans don't really care that much because, like you said, they're great characters. All 3 of them are wonderful. What's up, Knight? How you doing, man?
What's up, Knight? All right.
But I think it was crucial to this movie, especially if they were going to reinvigorate it and breathe new life into this film. They had to quite literally do the opposite and kill one of the things that is so wonderful about this franchise. That's the only way you bring people in to see because what happens now? What happens moving forward with the franchise now that we don't have Dewey? Do we keep working with the legacy characters? Do we start fresh with all new characters? What happens next? If we would have kept Dewey alive, I think a lot of people would have just been okay, Scream 6 is just going to be the exact same thing again with, it's another Ghostface killer. We have the OG3 just trying to figure it out, blah, blah, blah. Now, we are in the dark, maybe way more than we were beforehand with Scream 5. We kind of knew some things that were going to happen in this film, and we were okay, yeah, this will happen, this will be fun. Scream 6 is a total mystery, even more than this last film has, and that's what intrigues me so much about where the franchise could go next. Right. I'm really excited to see that without Dewey. I mean, is it gonna suck? Is it gonna be is it gonna be better? I don't know. I really don't know. And that's what intrigues me so much more moving forward with this franchise, I guess, is what I wanted to get at.
Yeah.
Well, My
Go
thing
ahead.
with Killing Dewey is 2 points actually. First of all, I agree with Jake in that it's put us in the dark in a good way. But I also think that doing so on Scream 6 might have been a better idea, just because, hey, that would have been the trilogy. It not only would have been a trilogy ender, but it's a
Yep.
game changer because does 7 start a new trilogy in which none of the OGs are in it? None of them at
Ah,
all. And
yeah. I think you're onto something, Chris.
Now the
Yeah.
second point. Now the second point is, I think
Yeah.
as far as Sydney getting to Woodsboro goes, I personally think that they could have gone away with the fact that she sees the news reports and she sees the bodies and she sees the faces of all these kids in Woodsboro that are being slaughtered, and who wouldn't be like, you know what, I gotta go down there and put a stop to this if after you've gone through it 4 times and you've managed to outwit 4 of these motherfuckers.
Man. Well,
I'd be down there with guns blazing. That's just me.
yeah, I know. Well, and I was thinking about this earlier too. I was like, what happens when this seven's over? I just have a funny feeling that that's what's going to happen to Chris in a lot of ways. That this is the final connections to Sidney Prescott and any of the old films are going to probably all end with seven. I think if they complete the trilogy, I think that it puts a bookend on everything. And I think eight could be it could be a prequel. It could be a whole, you know, I hope they don't retcon anything. I don't,
Me
because
too.
I don't want that. I want to keep the canon. But if you don't want to go back to it, that's fine. Just do a new story, but don't change the past. That's what would drive me nuts. Like, well, what if this person never really died, or what? You know how it goes. So
Well, what I think they could do, which I think would be really cool, is I actually wrote a script about this, but I loved the concept. Was that everyone says they should do a new Nightmare version, right? But why don't they riff on true crime and have it be a movie set in Woodsboro where Scream actually happened, but only the first
ah,
one happened. Only the first movie happened. You riff
okay,
on, hey, let's finally talk about movies that retcon the other movies, but do it in a way that we're not screwing with the canon at all.
right, right. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, excuse me. Now here's my question to that, and this is unique to Scream because of how they wrote it, how Wes and Aaron Kruger wrote it for three. If we do that, what about Roman Bridger? Because
That's
Roman is the mastermind of Scream One.
So
and that's the
you could go
that's the
wherever
ultimate
with
question.
that.
I think that you could kind of place with the idea that there was a mastermind, or there was even a third killer that's still out there. Maybe that's the lingering
Yes.
plot of that Scream movie. Is there's a
Yeah.
third killer still out there, and they just made up Roman Bridger to sort of fill in that blank. But it's like, no, they never caught the other guy that did this.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I love it. I love the potential because you could do you really could do so much. And
I
I'm
just
still on. I was gonna say I still love the prequel idea.
Me
I
too.
just, man, show us a young Billy and Stu. Show us Maureen Prescott living at the house with Sydney. Show us Cotton Weary. I mean, all of that stuff. And if you're keeping canon, then of course Roman at that time he would have come in a little bit later, but Roman still would have been there. He was there talking to Billy and Stu to get
Yeah, he
them to
was what, like
kill
in
him.
his 20s, I
Yeah, he
think
would
they
have been.
said.
He was older than Sydney for sure. I don't remember if we ever know how old he was. I don't think so. I don't
I
recall.
feel like I did research on this a long time ago, and I could probably
Yeah,
find it in my notes, but I
it
don't
could
got the
be.
time for that.
It could be. Interesting stuff. Jake, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I just
Go
had
ahead.
an interesting thing that I wanted to say, and then I probably got to piece out. But I have one. I
Yeah.
have one last thought I want to throw out there that I think is interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
if we do get a Scream 6 and a 7 by Radio Silence, they'll probably end up doing a trilogy, and it's gonna be awesome, is what I think. But
Absolutely.
moving forward, like, what's the next phase of horror after that? Because like, what happens next in the horror world, like let's say in the 2030s, we're going through this age right now where we're not remaking movies, we're doing retconned not prequels, but like sequels that retcon some stuff, like with the Halloween movies, and then even in Scream 5, like they retcon some stuff. There's some changes about the stab lore and all that, but moving forward, like are we going to go through another phase like in the thousands where we were just remaking movies again? Because like if you look at the 80s, man, like there's a lot of remakes in the 80s.
Yeah.
They're good remakes, I think, for the most part.
Yes.
But then in the thousands we do that again, and like a handful of them are good and the rest of them kind of suck. In the 2030s, do we go back to remaking movies, and is the inevitable Scream remake coming? Like, look, I don't think if they end up doing it, it'll probably be meh.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's
absolutely.
just like, I feel like it's one of those things that's just like inevitable in the next 20 years. It's probably going to happen, you know? I don't know. What do you guys think about that though? That's
Chris,
like
go ahead.
way in the future, but
Right.
it's just an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting that we could keep doing like the if you want to go by what could happen in the future, kind of like the Halloween Kills kind of thing. Maybe it's a whole movie of fan service. Maybe they just bring everybody back and they do a new Nightmare with every cast member of Scream and go all out.
Oh wow.
Now that's an interesting point, but I feel like right now we're in that golden age of fan service. Like I've talked about this a few times across
Right.
different live streams. Right now we are giving out so much fan service, and typically what happens when you're in your next generation is they'll try to defy everything from the last generation and do it differently. Like the 70s was all about making horror as extreme and dirty and disgusting as possible,
Yeah.
because in the 60s they were kind of like a little reserved, like the Alfred Hitchcock's movies were like a little more like, yeah, they were brutal for their time, but there wasn't anything
absolutely.
like people were watching those movies and being like, oh, I want to see gore, I want to see organs, I want to see blood. So the 70s changes all that, and then the 80s kind of commercializes that whole idea with the slasher genre. So what happens now? Right now we're in this phase where we're going crazy with our movies and our ideas, with the everything that's going on in our films. We have all these crazy it's kind of a crazy idea to have this movie be so popular right now, Scream 5. It's something that is, for the most part, has a lot of fan service. I think moving forward in the next generation of horror, we completely I think we dump that whole idea of fan service and we do the exact opposite. We do scripts that are like it's, once again, we're going back to remakes. But it's like trying to copy the exact same thing as the original. I'm not exactly for that, but I feel like we're going to try to do the exact opposite, just like how we have in the past. History repeats itself. It's not something I'm looking forward to, but I'm kind of thinking that's the only way we can go in, like, let's say 2030s era of horror.
I also
movies.
would argue maybe Supernatural. We might
Steven does not like that at all.
The ghost of Ghostface at this point, because let's be real, that's what is the most popular thing now, is the witch and the and if those,
and that's
the
probably gonna happen. Yeah, no, it's probably gonna get into that. It's gonna get crazy. Like it's gonna get to the point where it's like fan film era, where it's like it's just movies that are popular, just like out there. Like they are so out there. Again, we're gonna get to that point. We're already starting to get to that point.
Oh yeah,
and I think 10 years, 15 years from now, we revert back to the exact opposite of that and sticking with a certain structure and a certain amount of seriousness and less of the silly stuff, which I don't know how who knows how horror is going to evolve. That's just a guess, but it's interesting to talk about. I don't know. I wanted to leave you guys with that absolutely crazy thought because wow, it's 11:30 my time and I am cooked.
Oh, wow.
So
yes. Well, Jake, if I may, for 2 minutes before you leave,
yeah.
I know most of the people here in the chat probably are familiar with who you are, Killjoy Jake, who's part of the Lethal Collective, and just a great friend of mine. And I listen, for any of those of you who have come into the live chat, found this video on Facebook. Well, it could happen. Figuratively, but on YouTube. Boy, this has been a long day, man. I'm telling you.
It has been a long day.
Boy. But yeah, I just want to tell everyone quickly, if you have not subscribed to Killjoy Jake's channel, after this live stream is over, the first place you need to go is hop over there while you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, check out Jake's content, and he's got just all kinds of horror updates, man. If you want a horror update, he's going to hook you up. Whether it be Scream, whether it be Halloween,
Amen.
Jeepers Creepers, Terrifier 2, The Orphan, it doesn't really matter. Even some titles you may not be as familiar with as you think you are, he's going to cover it. Does a brilliant job, really fun. And
it really has been an honor to talk with you, honestly. Like, I've been following you forever, so I can't recommend his channel enough.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely, man, for sure. And I have to mention, Jake it's funny, is I have Chris tonight, who's CMAN710. You know him on Twitter, and he is a script writer. Wrote a fantastic script for Scream 5 fan script. I absolutely loved it. It was a page turner, and I'm not gonna say anything. Don't worry. But that final act, I could not stop. I just had to keep going until I found out what happened.
Yeah, we can totally talk spoilers when Jake leaves the room because I don't think Jake's read. That's the only person that.
Yeah. No, that's okay. No, I just wanted to tease it so that people can, whenever we get done here, after that they can go to Twitter, check out CMAN710. It'll pop right up in the search engine, and you can read the script. It's worth your time, guys. You will not regret it. And it's like watching a Scream movie on paper. When I was reading the script, I was literally picturing it in my head, which is so cool. But Jake, on the other hand, he also has kind of done the same thing, but he's put it on the screen so we can actually watch it with Red Right Hand. Jake, tell us about your movie. I want to plug it here. Tell us about Red Right Hand.
Yes.
So I made a proof of concept called Red Right Hand last October. We spent a long time on it. It's a lot of fun. It's really crazy. It's very out of the box and different. And just to, once again, shameless self plug, we are making a full length version of it. It's only like 8 minutes long.
Yes.
We have a 90-minute version coming I'm thinking this December. I'm not 100% sure on that release date yet, but it's going to be tough to make. We got to raise some money. We're going to start a Kickstarter here real soon, but I am so excited to do this thing. We have a very, very crazy idea for the whole thing. What's up, Master Chaos? How you doing, man?
What's up, Jose? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I'm just incredibly excited for that. I can't wait. We have so many crazy surprises and things along the way. So glad, so glad that Jake guy is gone.
I'm dead.
Fucking guy, jeez.
Boy.
But
Dude, I'm so excited for Red Right Hand, though. Oh my god,
I'm so excited. Like I want to tell you guys all about it, all the crazy stuff we have planned, but I can't. So that would just ruin everything. But thank you again for having me on your live stream, Steven. Chris, it was very nice actually talking to you in real life.
Same, honestly.
Jake, it's a pleasure as always, buddy. Always love it. And I appreciate you hopping on tonight and helping making this even a grander party than it was going to be. So I appreciate you, buddy, as always.
Hell yeah, man. You guys have a nice night.
You too, buddy.
Thanks,
we'll
you
see you
too.
soon.
Peace.
Later. All right,
All right.
Chris. Nice. Well, I think I'll go a little bit longer. I'm starting to run out of gas in my tank a little bit as well.
Me
And
too. I feel it.
but we got an hour and a half in. It's been a great live stream already.
I know, right?
It's been really great. So I'll tell you what we'll do. How about we maybe wrap up here with just some closing thoughts. So Chris, I'm not going to ask you to rank it because I personally, myself, am not ready to rank
God.
Scream 5. It's too soon for me. I have to give me like a month or two to watch it a lot, you know?
A year maybe for me.
Yeah, maybe.
It changes
honestly.
every freaking day. I swear to
Right.
God.
I know. It changes. That's the thing. I could give you something now, and then it'll change tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
Fate, dude, you're killing me, bro. You're killing me. Even when Jake's gone, he's throwing it, man. He's spitting it out.
Yep.
But Chris, as our closing time here, and then we'll call it a night. How about telling me just overall, how do you feel about? Because I know you're a legacy fan of Wes Craven's movies, of the Scream films. How do you feel about Scream 5? Just what are your feelings tonight on of this film?
I think the franchise is in good hands. I think I'm one of like the few people that really loves Melissa Barrera, and I'm so excited to see her lead the new charge in this franchise. I think that we have, and there's a lot of great groundwork, and I think there's a lot of stuff I want to see that's gonna continue on. I saw a lot of points as a writer where I was like, "Oh, that's such foreshadowing for another movie." Like, I mean, really great parts of it. Like, especially with the nod at the end with Billy in the police car. I was like, oh, you know, he's not done with her yet.
Nope.
I also think, and I meant to say this when we were talking about Stu, but I really like the devil on the shoulder thing. I know, you know how that, you know, we have Billy there. I almost had the feeling like, I'm like, okay, so Billy is the angel on the shoulder, so to speak. Who's the devil on the shoulder? Could that be where Stu comes into it?
There he is. Yeah, it could be. It really could. It absolutely could be. And I would much rather see him return as a living character. But if they're not going to go that route, I'll take him any way I can get him. All right, I'll take it any way I can get him. But
Me too. I love Matthew Lillard.
Oh, he's so good. He's just so talented.
Everything.
But that is totally. This is great, Jake. He's keeping in the chat.
I'm dead.
Oh dang.
That
is great.
Spoilers.
I know, right? So, no. So overall, then, you feel like they were able to balance the weight of trying to bring honor to Wes Craven, respect the past, but also invoke their own personality into it, but keeping it a Scream film. How do
I
you feel
think
they
in
did?
a lot of ways they were. I think that it was clear that that was their first attempt at doing it in a
Hmm.
good way. And I
Yep.
love seeing that because there's a certain raw energy to seeing the first Scream too. Like you see those things that they
Hmm.
improve on as they go along. And I think that it's an exciting prospect to see what they improve on as they go along now too, especially with the characters. I mean, I think that there was like we didn't get to know them as well as the original Scream characters. So I think there's so much build and groundwork to see, and I'm excited for that. Like more than anything, I
Absolutely.
think they've done a great job in that sense of making me invested and interested.
Yes, agreed. I think so too. I think they did a good job of taking on what was a difficult thing to do, to be given the keys to an iconic franchise by from a legend was in the driver's seat, to say, here's Wes's franchise, here you go. The
Yeah, right.
pressure. Oh my
I would be so
gosh.
scared.
Yes, like everything is just going to be so difficult. And so I thought, considering all of that, that they made a good movie. There's some things, of course, I would have liked to seen different. However, overall, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I loved it both times. And, I'm excited to see it for 14 times when I'm
Jeez,
seriously doing that, bro. I'm like
I
literally
swear
going
to
to
God,
I'm
I
dropping it
probably will
twice
too.
twice a day. I'm gonna make it a mission. Hey, Top Gun, thank you, man. Thank you for that kind word, brother.
It's
I
so true,
appreciate that.
though.
Thank
Honestly,
you. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it, man. It means a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna when I get through watching those 14
it's
episodes,
okay. I
whatever.
feel you on that one.
Woo, the eggs are scrambling.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
but you know what I'm saying. When I watch it 14 times in that week, I think it's gonna give me a much it'll settle in better. But
Oh,
even having said
absolutely.
that, I can't rank it, but it was good. It was a good movie, and I say everyone, if you haven't seen it, I think probably most people here who can see it have seen it. Definitely go watch it. Definitely go see this movie. It's worth your time, and I do appreciate that, even though some things that maybe fall a little bit short and continue to attack everyone. Oh,
Yeah,
Bluck,
dead.
I love it, Blucky. He's cracking me up, man.
I'm sorry, I did
Um,
not mean to interrupt you, but that was just too funny
oh,
not
it's
to
too
read.
good. That's why I put it up on the screen. I'm like, that's just too good not to. Um, yeah, I mean, to balance all of that, man, to balance the past with the present, and and I know the attention to detail. Like whenever they gave the cheers to Wes, when after Wes died, and they're
Yep,
in Stu's house. Remember that? And Chad's like, for Wes, and he holds up his cup, a glass, or whatever he had, and everyone says, for Wes.
I
And you
thought that
find
was.
out afterwards, right, that
Oh
they
yeah,
brought in
right.
all these people, dude. Like what's his name? The Embry. Um,
Um,
oh my gosh, Henry
so I
Winkler.
think the Fonz,
The
man. Oh my
Fonz. Yeah,
God.
I'm like,
I'm like literally like how am I?
see, my brain
Henry
wasn't.
Winkler. There we go.
My brain wasn't doing this on the collective. That was like 5 hours ago. It's been a long time, but yeah, Henry Winkler they brought in Wes Craven's widow. Patrick
It's so
Lussier,
great.
his who editor for all the Scream films and even the ones before that, and all of these great guys, Drew Barrymore, and it was
Yeah,
so
I
many.
noticed her the first time I watched it. I
Did
turned to
you
my friend and
really?
I was like, I literally turned to my friend as they were talking with this person and everything. I'm like, is that Drew Barrymore? I'm like, I can't tell. Like, it really sounded like her just a little bit. I do watch the Drew show once in a while, so
Yeah.
I've heard her a couple times before. So,
Oh yeah, that's a good ear. I didn't catch it the first. When I watch it, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen for Cool House Freeman, which is Matthew Lillard in The
right,
Party, and I'm gonna listen for somebody's dad's kicking us out, which is Jamie Kennedy, and
right.
and Drew Barrymore. I'm gonna listen really closely for those things. But yeah, it was a good film overall. I'm very happy about it, and
Me too.
you know, I'm gonna have one more live stream just for those of you that are still here. I know it's really late for a lot of you.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you know, on Tuesday, my brain getting my head together. On Tuesday, I'm having a live stream here on the channel with Allison, who has the amazing podcast. And I don't want to say this wrong because I want to get it right and give her the right respects that it deserves.
Absolutely.
Um, it's the Who's There. I want to say it right. It's the Who's There, a podcast about horror fans. That's what it is. I always want to say it's about
Oh,
horror.
nice.
So yeah, Allison from Who's There, a podcast about horror fans. Has podcasts on all the normal outlets for podcasts. She and I was a guest of hers last Saturday. I think my episode on her podcast is going to air this week. She interviewed me,
Oh, cool.
so that's really cool. But this Tuesday at 4:45, yep, weird time, 4:45 p.m. Central, I will be having a live stream to talk Scream 5 with Allison as my guest. So just teasing that for everybody who's here. And Chris, if you're available, check it out.
Absolutely.
And also want to tease something else. Tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time, I will be on my second channel, which is called the Movie Bros React. And my buddy Michael, who's my movie bro, I know Chris, you know that channel. I think
Oh,
we
heck
first
yeah.
met over there, and
Exactly.
that's where we met. And so we're going to be doing our very first live stream on the Movie Bros channel.
Oh,
to
sweet.
talk. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Bruce Campbell movie Black Friday, which came out on Black Friday. And
I'm curious to see that.
That is, have you seen? Yeah, it's a campy Bruce Campbell zombie movie.
Bruce
So we're
Campbell's
gonna-
just awesome in general, so I'm
He's-
like, I'll watch anything with him in it.
That's how we are. We love the guy. I mean, we've watched everything he's ever done.
Have you
So-
met him yet? I mean,
No.
Luke's like the most hilarious person on the planet. He was on Days.
Is
He
he?
was actually at Days of the Dead at the same time Roger was,
Oh,
and
no way.
and like between the two of them, like had so much laughs. It's like, dude's
Oh,
hilarious.
That's awesome. I could see that. I could totally picture him being that way.
He's
You
super
know, he just
sarcastic.
seems so. Yeah, totally could see it. It's so cool. Random, keep going. I've already put off my channel.
Dead.
Oh.
Oh.
Frank Pluto. Yeah, we're getting a female horror fan. Yes, we are. We are next Tuesday. It's
Always
gonna
a
be really
beautiful
fun.
thing.
And she's so knowledgeable. She has such a passion for horror movies. You guys are gonna love it. But anyway, yeah. So those are some things coming up. But tomorrow night, if you guys are free or still here in the chat, I will be posting it on my community tab, either probably after I go to bed tonight, so that you guys can check it out, and there'll be a link to it. If you guys want to pop over and say hello, and Chris, if you're open, pop over and say hi. Love to see you there,
Definitely
too.
will. Before work, probably.
Before work, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, tell us real quickly. I teased it earlier already, but just real quick, for those who might be here in the chat who've never visited your Twitter account and seen your work, just give them a little quick synopsis of what they can expect.
I do a lot of slashers, horror. I do a bunch of stuff, honestly. I'm trying to branch out a little bit more. So I've been doing a lot of vampire horror. I've been doing some slasher movies. I'm working on a whole Scream trilogy right now. As Craven said, I mean, like midway into Scream 6 right now. I guess I could say that you can expect a lot of the unexpected because everyone tells me I'm the guy who has all the twists. I'm the guy that
Yes.
like people will walk away being like, how many twists can you throw into one script? But I enjoy that. I like my twists. I'm like the M. Night Shyamalan guy. I'm the guy who's like, I can't have a script without some big twist in it. And if I can't figure it out, well, that goes in the trash.
Nice. Well,
And
and
I like
I've
that.
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was meaning to cut you off. I was just going to say that I can attest to that because I really enjoyed your Scream 5 script. It was a lot of fun, and I had the opportunity and privilege to be one of those that Chris asked to do a look at it ahead of time, to get our
Yep.
initial thoughts on it. And I know that was a very small group that you did that too, and I appreciated
Yes.
you including me in that. I think that was really cool, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I know it took me forever to get back to you, but my bad on that. But I know I finally got it back to you,
Right.
but
feel
not
like
because I didn't like it. I loved it. So tons of fun. I'm not gonna say anything about it because it's like a Scream movie. The less you know, the better. Just go into it. But for everyone watching who wants to read a really good fan written by Chris original script, it's really well done, and he does it so well. It's marked right, so like seeing where it's going, and it's just the way it should be. So highly, highly, highly recommend you to go to his Twitter account, CMAN710. Just do a search, you'll find him, follow him, and then check out his stuff. Chris, anything else you'd like to say about your work before we wrap up?
I guess I give a little tease that I am about halfway through Scream 6 and I have just sent out the first 50 pages to a bunch of people. So that's going to be interesting. I'm really excited for that.
Nice.
I I'm excited for people to see it. Mostly because honestly, it's going to get insane. I'm like, if you want to see a Scream movie that's go off the rails, I've been told by people that the Moes and the Killers is literally one of the most insane things that one of my friends has ever heard. He literally said I would
Wow.
honestly be terrified in a theater if I watched these people.
Love it, dude. That's awesome, man. I can't wait. I'm excited to see where it goes after 5, so that's going to be a really fun thing. Cannot
Right?
wait. So, guys, be sure you visit his Twitter account here. And also, while before we wrap up here, I will also say, if you have not visited my social media accounts, guys, here you go right here. You hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or of course here on YouTube, which you already know because you're already here. But if you want to reach me, the best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram and Twitter. Definitely. I still go to Facebook, but not very often. So those would be the two. If you want to come check it out, come go over, hit me up with the follow, and I'll keep you posted there. And we can have some direct communication as well. And also, guys, you see the banner running at the bottom. If you're here, I would appreciate it if you haven't already. Just smash that thumbs up button for me on the video. It really does help the video once it goes into replay mode after we end the stream. It helps other Scream fans find it. So I'd appreciate you doing that for me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Let's go. This is the time to do it. This is what this
Honestly,
channel's about, man. We talk Scream, we talk horror, and it's all horror all the time. It's the only genre the channel I'm ever going to talk about. So I would love to have you guys there. But for everyone else, I want to say again, thank you. A shout out again to CW and to Steven for your super chats tonight. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate the support. It really helps the channel, helps keeping the things rolling here and giving you guys quality content. So appreciate that. And everyone, I want to say a formal good night. Chris, thank you, sir.
thank you for having me. It was the most fun I've had in a long time, honest to God.
Oh, that's likewise. It's been a blast, and I know everyone's enjoyed it as well. And guys, everyone here in the chat, thank you again. You are the best. You know I love you. The best Scream community on YouTube, brother. In YouTube too.
Amen.
In and on. The very best. You know I love you guys. All right, I will catch you up on the next video. And until then, this is Craven Something Scary, where it's all
And
horror.
this is CMAN710.
That's right. And it's all horror here all the time. See you, Chris.
See ya.